Welcome to my kitchen. Today we are gonna spatchcock and roast a whole organic chicken. I went to my butcher to find a pastured bird. That's the gold standard when you're making a whole chicken. And my butcher said that his poultry grower had had a coyote problem, and so he wasn't gonna have any available for 6 weeks. So I went to the big box store, found a whole organic chicken. I think you could probably find these at most grocery stores. And I am gonna roast this today in my cast iron casserole dish. This is my favorite when I'm roasting a chicken. It makes a wonderful roasted chicken. Let's get started.
All right, here we go. You can take some kitchen shears and you're going to cut down either side of the spine of the bird. Kitchen shears work pretty well to cut through the ribs, and you'll know where the spine is. It's in between the neck and the tail of the bird. You'll cut down through either side of the spine, and this will work really well until you get back to the hips of the bird. Once you get back there, then the kitchen shears aren't going to work to cut through those big long bones of the hip. When you get there, what I do is I take my knife just like this, and if you get just the right angle, you'll cut through that joint, and then you'll be able to remove the spine. You can just throw this away. We'll use the rest of the bones of the bird for bone broth, but we won't use the spine. Once you've got the spine out, you're 90% of the way there, but the bird won't still lay flat until you fix the breastbone of the bird. So it still doesn't lay flat. You're going to turn it back over and you're going to cut through that little ligament, and now the bird will lay flat. To season this bird, we're going to use some grass-fed butter, some dry white wine, some herbs and spices, and a lemon. I'm going to zest this lemon into the grass-fed butter. The grass-fed butter is important because it'll add omega-3 fatty acids to our meal. We did compromise by getting an organic rather than a pasture-raised chicken, and so the grass-fed butter will help compensate and add more omega-3 fatty acids. I'm going to add in the spice mix here. And then I've got to mix up this butter and spices and get it ready to season the chicken with it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put this butter and spice mix in between the skin of the chicken and the muscle meat. And this will provide a lot of moisture and also just flavor the chicken and allow the skin to brown up really nicely. The skin of the bird is really healthy for our own skin and also for the lining of our intestines. I'm going to slice up this lemon, and I'm going to put this in the bottom of my casserole dish. I'm also going to put in some sprigs of rosemary and about a half a cup of dry white wine. The casserole dish is prepared. Now I'm going to get the chicken ready to go. I'm going to use my fingers to just separate the skin from the muscle meat of the bird. I'm going to do this on either side of the breast and then on either chicken quarter. The quarter is the thigh and the drumstick of the bird. Just be kind of careful. You can use a silicone spatula to do this as well. Just be careful not to puncture through the skin. It provides a nice waterproof barrier to kind of hold in the moisture of the butter. Once I've got the skin separated from the muscle meat, I am going to tuck about a quarter of the butter into each of these 4 different quadrants of the chicken. If you get it started underneath the skin here, then you can just kind of push it back so that it goes all the way through that cavity and is spread nicely. Usually I have some extra left over on my hands, and when that happens, I just kind of spread it over the skin of the bird. It'll help it to brown up really nicely. I've got half of the butter in there. We're going to put another quarter in this quarter of the chicken, and the rest of the butter will go into the other quarter. Once you've got this done, you're going to put it into your prepared casserole dish, and then you can pop it into the fridge for 3 or 4 hours. You're going to let that skin dry because it will brown up nicer if you do that. You can also do this overnight, just depending on what your schedule is when you want to actually cook the chicken. Once you've got the skin all dried, you're going to preheat your oven to 300 degrees, put the lid on the casserole dish, and put it in the oven for about 2.5 hours. After 2.5 hours, you're going to increase the temperature to 375 degrees, remove the lid, and let it roast another 20 to 30 minutes until the skin is nicely browned. This bird is all done. Let's get him out. And dinner is served. After the chicken is cooled, I remove the intact wings. My family doesn't like to eat the wings, and the long bones of the bird. And next week, I will show you how to make about 20 cups of chicken bone broth out of these bones. Go ahead and just put a lid on them, pop them in the freezer, and we'll make the bone broth next week.